cause it's deep in our bones. A tri-core quest with this hip-hop Jones. So sit and analyze a lyrical spray, cause all it really is wordplay, wordplay.
What up, real Nagas and real Nuggets? What up, Dragon and Dragoness Moors? Phoenix and Phoenix Moors? What's poppin', y'all? Back in the house. Been a long time. Y'all. But we back. Back for another episode of Wordplay. What's happening? So, you guys know I've been out of commission for a little bit. But now we're back in the swing of things. And we're going to be dropping videos. Especially this month. Just going to be coming out with them. Actually, so Wordplay. This Wordplay is actually going to be two. It's going to be two Wordplays at once. So one will be putting on the YouTube channel. For everybody who's on the YouTube, the Real Nagas YouTube channel, but also the second wordplay or episode, I think we're doing around 7 and 8. So episode 7 will be put on YouTube. Episode 8 or 7 and 8 will both go on the Patreon channel. So you guys know I need you guys to subscribe to that channel so that I can continue to do these videos and not have to worry about having to do other things that takes my time away from having to give you guys this information. So go on over to patreon.com/realnagas and subscribe. Do it right now. Right now. Get on you can pause it now. Go to Patreon, sign up. It's only like $2 for the lowest thing. If you want more information, there's different levels. But if the lowest is like $2 a month, come on, everybody, $2. You spend $2 when you walk out of the house. So go on over, subscribe, and you guys will be able to get all the videos that I put out as soon as I put them out. Eventually, they may get to the Real Nagas YouTube channel. I may or may not put them out, but if you want that information right now, go on over to Patreon. All right. Also, hit the subscribe button on the Real Nagas YouTube channel so that you guys can know when I do put these videos out, so that you don't miss out on the information and you can share this information because everybody needs to understand where you are so that you know where you're going. Alright, so with that said, this episode of Wordplay is going to be the King's English. The King's English Part 2. What up? So we did the King's English Part 1, right, which was the King's English is law. So we know the Queen's English is everyday common language that we use in the world, but the King's English, what we're supposed to be using, is the law. Okay, so when you walk into a courtroom and you start speaking regular English, you're talking a completely different language. You might as well be speaking Taiwanese up in there. Unless you're talking the law, you're not being understood. So this is why we're introducing you guys to the law, because you guys really need to get out there and learn this on your own. On the Patreon channel, I have a lot of the status classes uploaded for you guys who actually want to learn how to correct your status, so and learn the law. So, but this is the introduction. It's kind of an introduction to the King's English Part 2. So, with that said, before we get into that, make sure you guys also go over to GoFundMe.com/CopStopGuardian, because that's what this is for. So, if you don't want to go over to Patreon to sign up for Patreon, because part of that money will be donated to the Cop Stop Guardian app. And yes, we're still getting that done. Okay, that is not stopped. We need this app to get out there so that we can stop this violence at the police stops. So no matter what, we're going to get this out. And once you guys see the app created, because the design is so off the chain, when you really see it created, you're really going to see how it's going to be able to work. So to donate to Cop Stop Guardian just by itself, you can go to GoFundMe.com/CopStopGuardian. If you want some information for the exchange, you can go over to Patreon.com/RealNagas and subscribe there. And part of that money will go to the Cop Stop Guardian app. But we need you guys to get out there and support. Get out there and hook it up. Also, get over to RealNagas.com for those Dragon Moore and Phoenix Moore shirts. I'm about to put out a new line of stuff. But to get on the Dragon Moore and the Phoenix Moore and the Native Amaru Khan shirts, please get on over there and get your gear up, because this information is about to start overheating. So I want you guys to be able to represent this information when you go out to the world, not just be able to talk it and speak it, but also show what you're talking about. So that's with the gear. Also, it would help a brother eat. All right, with that said, let's get into this next episode of Wordplay, episode number 7, and this is the King's English Part 2, or however that goes. Deuces. So, the first word we're going to deal with, as I was just talking about earlier in the intro, about going over to the Patreon channel, but status, okay, to correct your status. So, but what does that really mean? What is status? You hear me and all the other guys talk about this a lot on the Zoe What Show, probably me more than anyone else, but that's because you guys are second and third class citizens, and so you need to understand this in order to elevate your status so that you can reap the benefits of being in that type of class citizenship. All right, you got all these Caucasians walking around here. They're first class citizens. Some of them are also second class and third class citizens too. This is not just about color. All right, this has nothing to do with color. This is about law. So unless you know the law, you're going to be somewhere down here while the elite upper class cats, they're running shit. If you're trying to get to the upper class, the top levels, then you need to get in there and learn the law. They don't know the law necessarily, but they have lawyers who know the law, which facilitate their position at the top. So with that said, status is our first word, status. What is status? All right. Everybody knows what it means on the street. If you got status, you know what that means. You know what that means. It's like being, you know what I'm saying, being a certain level of boss on the street. You know what I'm saying? You got a status, cats look up to you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it means. If I have a little status, people look up to me. So it means some type of elevation, right? Some type of level system that we're dealing with. Because if I look up to someone with status, then that means I'm not there. I'm down here. So what does it mean? That's what it means on the street. But what does it mean in the law? Okay? What does it mean when you walk up in that courtroom and you have a certain status and you get treated that way? So what does status actually mean? So status is the legal definition of status is the rights, duties, capacities, and incapacities which determine a person to a certain class. See, just talking about class. You know what class is too. We dealt with that. All right, class, a certain class. What does that mean? See, the rights, duties, capacities, and incapacities. That means shit you're able to do and shit that you can't do that determine you to a certain class. That means if you're of a certain class, there's some shit that you can do, or some people at a certain class can do, that other people who are not at that same class can't do. This lets you know you're dealing with some type of status or class system that allows certain mobility to certain people and non-mobility or measured mobility, you know what I'm saying, limited mobility to another class of people. Okay, so that would be determined by your status. And that's the things we call black or white, you know what I'm saying, or minority. All these different things determine you to a certain class, 14th Amendment citizen. And we're going to get into all these different definitions, or at least a lot of them, with this episode. But these things determine you to a certain class system, right? When you say, oh, I'm black, when you say, oh, I'm white, or I'm Asian, these are all things, these little boxes that they placed you in so that they know what class you're in, what little section how to deal with you, all right? So it's up to you to put yourself in your own in your own class, all right? You say you determine what your status is, because that's what they're going to ask you. Really, they're going to, well, okay, well, who are you? And then it's up to you to tell them. And if you say, oh, I'm a minority, then they're going to place you right here in this box. If you say, oh, I'm black, well, they're going to place you right here in this box. But if you understand the law and you're able to speak that, and you're able to speak that way, and your status follows you on paper, then there's nothing else they can say. But you have to know the law first, and you need to know what status is and where your status is at the moment in order to elevate it. All right? So status, the rights, duties, capacities, and incapacities which determine a person to a certain class. All right? Get your status up. Next word. Okay, so our next word it deals also with status. And it's the overall term of what a status is when you belong to a nation or country or whatever. And that term is a citizen, okay? You're a citizen, or you have citizenship of a certain country or government, right? So, but what is a citizen? All right, what does that mean? Everybody, I'm a citizen, I'm a world citizen. I'm a citizen of America. America the beautiful. I'm a citizen. I have dual citizenship. I'm a citizen of America. I'm a citizen of whatever country you're from, or coming to America. I am a loyal citizen of Zamunda. But what does that mean? What the fuck is Zamunda? What does it mean to be a citizen of Zamunda? That's another story. But what is a citizen, all right? So we hear it all the time. Are you a citizen? And are you a citizen with a big C or the tiny little c? That makes a difference, okay? Just like you were taught in school, or if I don't know what you were taught in school, but when you capitalize a certain word, that means something. You don't do that arbitrarily. So in certain places, there's big C citizen, little c citizen, but what do both of them mean? And we're gonna go over that. All right, so citizen, the definition of citizen, legal definition, of a citizen is a member of a free city or jural society. It means a society that has a jural system, a court system. Possessing all rights and privileges or anything that can be enjoyed under its constitution and government, and subject to corresponding duties. Citizens are members of a common community inspired to a common goal, who, and associated with others, submit themselves to rules of conduct for the promotion of the general welfare and conservation of individual as well as collective rights. Also, a citizen is a member of a civil state entitled to all its privileges, one of the sovereign people, a constituent member of the sovereignty, synonymous with the people, which is where you get we the people. So basically, a citizen is a member of a body politic who shares in the freedom and rights of that body politic, as long as they don't infringe upon the rights and duties and capacities of another citizen. All right, so that means you share in the freedom. You have a piece of that freedom. You make up the total freedom and sovereignty of what that body politic is. Okay, you are a part of that. That means if they take you out, then there's some missing. All the people or citizens involved in the body politic create the sovereignty of that body politic. Okay, it's your collective rights together that create the power of that government or that body politic. Okay, so now, as we were saying before, there's a citizen with a big C and there's a citizen with a little c. Okay, so if you go look in the Constitution, for the first part of the Constitution, you're going to see citizen all the way through the beginning written with a big C. Okay, go look it up. Don't believe me? Go look it up. Find any Constitution you want, run through it. Then after the mention of the 14th Amendment, you're going to see little c. All right, so that's going to be our next word, is 14th Amendment citizen, or our next words. Okay, because this is more like the King's English. So it's not necessarily words, it's words and phrases. Okay, so next one is 14th Amendment citizen. Okay, so you got the regular citizen, who was created when the Constitution was first created. Then you have something called the 14th Amendment citizen. Okay, I'm sure a lot of you may have heard that going around, dealing with a lot of this sovereignty talk and the Moors and any other stuff you may have heard dealing with status and all the rest of that stuff. You've heard 14th Amendment citizen. Okay, but what is that? There's a lot of videos out there on it, but we're going to touch on it really quick. Technically, a 14th Amendment citizen is anyone who's under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, the United States Constitution. All right, your freedom is secured by the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. Okay, and that was supposed to be who? Slaves, right? Okay, so you had regular citizens, brothers were freed, but when they were freed, they were still treated like slaves in a lot of places. So they didn't become citizens when they were freed. They were just freed. So they had to create a certain way to bring them into the body politic. So they created the 14th Amendment. Okay, so now let's go over what the 14th Amendment says, because we're breaking down the King's English, and a lot of you think you know what the 14th Amendment says, and you're proud to say, well, the 14th Amendment, that's a violation of my 14th Amendment right. If you knew what the hell you were talking about, you would not be saying that. So we're going to go over that really quickly. What does the 14th Amendment mean? What does it mean to be a 14th Amendment citizen? The 14th Amendment states, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. Did you get that? Let's do one more time. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state in which they reside. Okay? Very, very intricate wording. Naturalized means to be made a citizen. Okay? When you're born, you're a native of that country. That you're supposed to be automatically a citizen. However, to be naturalized means you applied for citizenship and they gave you citizenship. So with that, it's supposed to become a certain level of obedience to that government. Meaning you're subject to that government. Whereas in a certain country where you're born, you're a native, the government is actually subject to the power of the people. But if you're a naturalized citizen, then pretty much you're subject to whatever that government wants you to do. As it said, all persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. It didn't say all persons born in the United States are subject to the jurisdiction. Okay, so that's a distinction. It means there are people who are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, which is a corporation, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But it says all persons born and naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state in which they reside. And that citizen is a very small c. Okay, go look that up. So now we've just seen the creation of two different classes. You have a citizen who was created by the creation of the Constitution when it was first made. Then you have a citizen who was created by the 14th Amendment. And these are two different citizens letting you and made known by the different levels or the case in the C in the Constitution. All right. So one is an upper class citizen, another is a second class citizen. Although 14th Amendment citizens are supposed to be on the same level as a regular citizen. You're supposed to have the same rights, duties, capacities. That's where it's supposed to be. However, that's not what it is. As we just read, the 14th Amendment says, and subject to the jurisdiction are citizens. So if you're subject to the jurisdiction of the United States of America, you're a second-class citizen. You don't have the power to tell them what to do. They tell you what to do. This is the difference, okay? That is the main difference. Either you run the government or they run you. Which citizen are you? And this is what we talk about when we talk about status and correction of your status. Most of you don't even know what status you're in. And it doesn't have anything to do with your skin tone, because there are a lot of Caucasian people out there running around 14th Amendment citizens because they've relied on the government to help them so much that they become wards. They become wards of the government. Okay, they become the government is their guardian or parent, and so to speak, in law. So that's made them subject to their jurisdiction. And so in actuality, most people in the United States are 14th Amendment citizens now. There's hardly any people who are on the level of upper class citizen. Now that would be if you're rich, yes, you're operating somewhere around there. But most people, unless you're a millionaire or billionaire, you're a 14th Amendment citizen. If you have to rely on the government in any type of way, you're a 14th Amendment citizen. So know your status, learn this status so that you can correct it and move freely and properly throughout the world, especially the United States of America, Inc., which we'll get into in a little bit. But know your status and elevate it. Next word. So our next word has to deal with what the government or the United States government, well, actually all governments now, but what the government actually is, and that would be a corporation. We just talked about. Okay, so the government is not, or United States, or USA, the federal government, United States of America, and it's called United States of America, Inc. It's a corporation. It is not a government. And you can go look this up. It's a Delaware corporation. Filed, and then the file number, I believe, is 2193946. That is the number, that is the status number, or the corporate number, filing number for the United States of America, Inc. It's a Delaware corporation, okay? So what is a corporation though? Legally, what is a corporation? A corporation, legally, is an artificial person made up of little individual peoples real people, little individual real people, what they call natural persons. They come together and create this artificial person who actually has the same rights and capacities as a natural person, except the right to vote. However, they do have the right to influence votes, which is what you see the NRA and all the rest of these people do with their money when they buy politicians. So they may not have the money to vote, but having the money to influence a vote, having the power to influence a vote is far greater than actually having the right to vote. If I can influence the politician who's actually posting the vote, that's far greater than having the right to vote itself. I have one vote. However, this politician's vote is the only one who counts. So if I can buy his shit off, then we're good. So that's what it means to be a corporation. You're an artificial person who can operate throughout the world. However, a corporation has what's called a veil, a corporate veil. So even though it's made up of individual natural persons who create this artificial person, there's something called a corporate veil, which is a barrier between the outer world and the people who make up the corporation. That means you can't get to them. That's why you become a corporation, an artificial person rather than a real person. A real person is bulletproof. Oh shit, you dipping and dodging all the time. An artificial person, he not real. You can shoot him all you want. You're like, great. You're not hitting a real person. Like a bulletproof vest. So, the United States of America, Inc. is a corporation. All right? You are property of this corporation. As we just learned in the 14th Amendment, where it says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction, and subject to, this is a very powerful word. Subject to means slave, meaning I have power over you. It means you do what I say. That's a legal term. Subject, like a king. King has subjects. So if you're subject to the United States, that means the United States is your king, and you have to do what it says. So as an artificial person, you are property of the United States of America, Inc., especially if you're a 14th Amendment citizen. Okay? If your citizenship was created and it goes through the federal government, you are a piece of property. Okay? Because you're contracted with them. Okay? That's how you're contracted with them, through your driver's licenses and birth certificates and passports and all these different contracts that this artificial person gives you to make your life better and easier so that you can move a little freer throughout society, that he's made it hard for you to move through in the first place. Then he is your master. Okay? He owns you. Literally. This artificial person, United States of America, owns you. So understand corporation. Okay, this is what you're in. This is what the government is. This is how people operate today throughout the world. This is the new vehicles that run the world. If you're going to operate at a high level in the world today, you're going to have to come together and form some type of entity like that. Okay, a corporation, foundation, or trust. We're going to get into that in a minute as well. But these are the vehicles that are going to move through society, especially through the future. Okay, it's not an individual person anymore. The time when the individual person had all the power and he could stand up and he could say, oh, that time is gone. You need to get together with a lot of people who think the way you do, not who look like you. That doesn't matter. If they think like you, then you get with those people, you form your corporation, and you mash out how you need to mash out. But corporation is an artificial person. It's basically a person who takes all the bullshit in society that you would take as a natural person moving through society. Okay? Corporations are not bad. It's just in how you use it. Get your knowledge up. Next word. So our next word is contract. Okay? Contract. I've mentioned this a few times in different videos. I don't know if I actually did the definition of it, the breakdown, but we're going to do the legal breakdown of what a contract is. Okay? A contract. You've heard it all the time. Man, we got a contract to do that, man. We got a contract. You locked in, baby. Sorry. Do we have a contract? Oh, no? Oh, well, I'm out. Contract. What does it mean? You've heard it all the time. I need to contract with that person. Did you sign the contracts yet? Oh yeah, man. When I'm getting that big contract, oh man, They need that $200 million contract. They looking for it, baby. Oh, Steph Curry just got a $250 million contract. Oh, snap. What does that mean, though? What is it? What is a contract? All right. Contract. A contract is basically an agreement between two or more people to do or to not do a certain thing based upon what's called consideration. Okay, that's a legal term, consideration. What is consideration? It's basically who gets what. Money, it could be, clothes, furniture, a car, whatever the exchange is, the medium of exchange is called consideration. Okay, there has to be an exchange of something for a contract to be legal. Okay, so that means you have to, in order for a contract to be legal, some people, there needs to be an exchange of services or goods or whatever the hell it is, and there needs to be something coming from you to me and me to you, and that constitutes a contract. Okay, and it's an agreement. Now, contracts can be verbal. Okay, there's a whole slew of law cases where people just had a verbal agreement and those contracts stood. Okay, but contracts create an obligation. Okay, when you sign a contract, now you're obligated. Okay, because it's you in your full capacity saying, I will do this based on if he does that. And then once both of you agree upon that, it's locked, ironclad. Okay, locked into the law. And the only way you can come out of it is if one person wronged the other. Okay, it has to be that, or if somebody hid information before the agreement was consummated, before we came upon the agreement, and you had some information that I should have had beforehand that you didn't tell me, that can knock out a contract. But also, if you reserve your rights beforehand to knock out a contract. See, this goes back to one of the episodes before where I talked about signature. Okay, so when you sign on a contract, that locks you into a contract. Okay, your signature is the most important property you have, the most valuable property you have. And when you sign your name and you don't reserve your rights next to your name, then you give all your rights away within a contract. You say, here, I don't care. And then the other person who made the contract, they can pretty much do whatever they want. Okay, so when you sign when you have a contract with somebody, remember, it creates you're obligated, no matter what. It doesn't matter if you think you were wronged or right or whatever. If you got a contract and you didn't reserve your rights or you didn't read the contract beforehand, but you agreed upon it, and now you're locked in. Doesn't matter if you knew or not. The judge will tell you ignorance of the law is no excuse. So when you enter upon an agreement with someone, you need to be fully aware, or what's the new word, woke. I hate that shit, but you need to get woke, get aware, be awake, and understand what you're giving away and what you're receiving. Because you could be giving up your whole damn life, or your family's life, when you sign a contract. And this goes back to what we're talking about, United States of America, Inc. Okay, it's a corporation. Corporations can only do business by contracts. That's it. There's no person, they're not a person, they're not a real person, so they can't walk up to you and say, hey, I'll make you a deal. They have to do contractual obligation. That's the only way a corporation can deal with a person, deal with anybody. Corporation to corporation, corporation to person, whatever it is, corporation to government, always contract. That's the only way they can talk. So in order for the government to have any power over you, that means you need to be contracted with them. How is that? Because of your driver's license, because of your passport, because of your birth, your social security. All of these things create a contract and obligation with the government, not the government, the corporation who masquerades as a government, known as the United States of America, Inc. And unless you rescind those contracts, you can go back and rescind those contracts. Rescind means to break the contract. You can break those, or you have to know how to do that, or you have to know what a contract is and all the pieces of what a contract is, and that you're actually in a contract in order to be able to break it. So understand from going on forward now, every time you sign your name, you're signing your name to a contract. Anything that requires your signature is a contract, legally. Understand that. And by signing it, you're creating an obligation, a lock. Okay, you're locking yourself into something every time you sign it, and you don't put next to it all rights reserved or without prejudice. And that's from another video that we've done. But just to touch on it again, because we need to understand what contract is everything. Contract is international law. You sign a contract here, it'll hold in any other country. Contracts are international law. Has nothing to do with America. This is around the world. So this is why this lets you know contracts run everything. This is how the world is run. Everything is commerce, it's money. Only way to do that is a written agreement between us, which is the contract. So understand the contract and don't sign your rights away. Next word. Our next word is trust. Okay, a trust. And we know what trust is in the regular term. Do you trust me? I trust you. Do you trust me? No, I don't trust you. Or I trust you with all my might. Everything I am, I trust you. That's not what this is. So a trust legally is another entity like a corporation. The only difference between the two is that a corporation, being a legal person, is a public person. A trust is also a legal person, but it's a private person. Okay, you got public and private, and those two things are absolutely separate. Okay, like you got government citizens who work for the government, and you got private citizens. And these people, their lives are private. They're called civilians. You got people who work for the government and civilians. Same thing. Public, private. Corporations operate in the public light. Okay, they do whatever they need to do. They acquire money. They make deals. They sign contracts. Do all this and that. Boom. Everything's out there in the open. A trust is a little different. Trust can do a lot of these things as well, but the trust information is not out for the public to be able to see. Especially even the government. There has to be very special circumstances for a government to come in and look at a trust document and look at the inner workings of your trust. Okay, so a trust is actually the gangster of the two. Okay, because it's a private person. So like a corporation's books are open to the public. A trust is not. Okay, and it's only special circumstances that the government can actually come in and look at the trust documents. So trust, public or private person, corporation, public person. You actually want to have both of these entities working for you. Okay, one in the public, one in the private, because these are the organizations and vehicles that are going to move throughout society in the future. They've been moving like that forever. So the trust game is the biggest game in the world that no one knows about. Like every rich person has a trust. Like there's the Whitney. There's this dude named. There's a story about this guy named Whitney who created the Whitney gin and all that. This dude had 186 trusts. 186 trusts. See, it's a private person. You can create a trust for your car. You can create a trust for your clothes. You can create a trust for your house. You can create a trust for your dogs. You can create a trust for anything, and it only deals with that. That's why O.J. Simpson wasn't, that's why the Goldmans couldn't get any money from O.J. Simpson, because he put all of his things in trust. So when they came to O.J. and said, yo, we need that, he was like, I don't know that. That's in the trust. Sorry. And it's because, in a trust, let me tell you the major benefit of a trust is, so a trust has three parts. A grantor, person who puts the money in the trust, beneficiary, the person who receives whatever's in the trust, and a trustee. Now, if you create a trust, you can be the grantor, the person who puts the money in the trust, and the trustee at the same time. Meaning you can control everything within the trust, but you don't own it. That is a major level of security, because if anybody comes after you now, all I do is control this. And that's the name of the game. Control everything, own nothing. They will never tell you that. They'll tell you that you need to own this. You need to own that. You need to own this. Or buy you a house. Get you a house. No. You don't need any of that. You want to control, not own. All right? So trust, private person, corporation, public person. Get both and start matching. Next word. So our next word is consent. Okay, so this goes back to also contracts. Okay, what is consent? You heard that before. You need to have my consent to be able to do something. Same thing with a contract. When you sign a contract, it's called implied consent or express consent, because you can actually see it. Okay, you sign something, you can see it. That's your consent to whatever's going on in this contract. So in order for anything to happen to you in a free jural society, it has to have your consent to do so. Okay, they can't do anything without your consent. And you do this by signing a lot of your, by complying with a lot of the documents, like we went over the driver's license, passports, and all these different things. These are contracts that have attached to them that you will comply with the laws of the United States, right? So that you will consent to whatever laws the United States has, okay, right? So, but remember, the United States government is a corporation, okay? And so there's many things that they don't have your consent on that's called implied consent, meaning because you didn't say anything or, you just let it go by, you gave what's called implied consent. Or the other word that's coming right on up behind it is called acquiesce or acquiescence, okay? Your acquiescence is when someone does something to you and you just basically don't say anything. That's called implied consent by your silence. So you give an example. If a dude walks up off the street and walks in your house, smacks your kid on the couch, walks up, grabs your wife, kisses your wife, goes to your refrigerator, grabs him some food and makes him a sandwich in your kitchen, comes down and sit on your couch and start flicking, grab the remote, start flicking the channel, and you don't say nothing to him, then that's called acquiescence. Because you, by your implied consent, by you not doing anything, you said this is fine. And that's how the government works. The government will do many things to you based on what's called implied consent, because your misunderstanding or your non-understanding of the law, you won't do anything most of the time when legal matters happens. And that is giving consent for the government to do anything they want to you. This is why it's so important for you to get out there and learn the law, because your consent and your signature, which is, those two things are tied together, your signature gives implied consent, or gives actually an express consent, meaning, yeah, I agree with this, okay? But when you don't do anything as well, you also give your consent. Like if a police officer pulls you over and you know you're in the right and he's done everything wrong to you, but you don't pursue any remedy, you don't try to you don't go after the cop to get him taken out, you know what I'm saying, or get him reprimanded, that's called acquiescence. It's literally called if you don't care about what he's doing to you, then why should anybody else? So again, your consent, most important thing you have, given away by your signature. Okay, that's why your signature is so important, because your consent is what it holds. And so you don't want to give that away freely. It's literally like a solid gold pyramid. You know what I'm saying? A priceless solid gold pyramid that everyone in the world wants, and you can't give it to anyone. Okay? Show it to people, but don't give it away. Alright? So your consent, don't acquiesce. Okay, these are the two words that actually go together. Consent is implied or expressed by you saying yes or you writing yes, but it's also assumed that you consent, or presumed that you consent, which is going to be our next word, when you don't say nothing. All right? No acquiesce, no consent. Next word. That next word is presume or presumption. Okay? So there's things called presumption in law. Okay? So what that means, pre means before, and assumption means to assume, like an assumption. So beforehand, I make a judgment beforehand. This is how it works. I make a judgment beforehand in law and say I can present that to the law. And the law will take that as fact until you come and challenge it. Okay? And that's called rebut. So when someone's talking to you and you're debating and then someone gives a rebuttal, okay? Same thing in law. If I come to the government and I said, this person's property, this person infringes upon, say it's my neighbor, and I say, this person infringes upon my property constantly, their tree grows over my fence, it's constantly dropping things in my fence, they don't pick them up, I have to spend money to clean, and it's just too much, Your Honor, it's just too much, I can't deal with it, I need some repercussion, I need him to pay me for everything, all the damages that his tree does to my property. You know what? And if you're not there, to challenge that, the law or the court will say, oh, well, since he's not here to challenge it and say anything, we're going to presume that's right. And there may not even be a damn tree anywhere near your property. But because you didn't say anything, the law will take it as fact, and it's called a rebuttable presumption. You can be rebutted, but it will stand as fact until you come and challenge it. And that's what happens with most law. Okay, when you're charged with a crime or a misdemeanor or an infraction, this is what's called presumption of law. They presume you're guilty. It's supposed to be it's the other way. It's supposed to be the other way around. Presumption of innocence. That's not the way it is. They presume you're guilty until you prove that you're not guilty. That's just the way the law system is. Don't take that bullshit on TV. You're innocent until proven guilty. That's bullshit. That is absolute 1000% bullshit. You are absolutely presumed to be guilty of your charges until you are able to prove that you're innocent. So remember that. Don't ever let anything that's legally that you're charged with. That can be a civil lawsuit or anything that has to do with law. The law that's charged against you, that's challenged against you, the law will take it as fact unless you challenge it. All right. So that's what's called presumption or presumption at law. All right. Get out there. Get your law game up. Next word. So our next word is arrest. All right, arrest. A lot of you out there getting arrested. So y'all need to know what this means. All right, so we're going to cover this really quick to see if you actually being arrested or falsely arrested, okay? So there's a lot of that going on too. False arrest is usually false imprisonment. But a lot of you actually misinterpret what an arrest is. So most of the time when a police actually put you under arrest, they're actually in the right. It's just that most people don't know the law. So we're going to touch on it real quick so that you guys can understand what it is and maybe get in a little less confrontation with the police officers while you learn your knowledge, get your law game up, and understand what to do properly. And also, if you want to know what to do properly, I have a video on the YouTube channel that's called Traffic Stop Tips. So going over to that, check that video out, and it'll tell you what to do at a traffic stop. In case you don't know the law, in which most of us don't. All right, so in this one though, arrest. All right, what is arrest? So an arrest is to deprive a person of his liberty by legal authority. Okay, liberty. That's another word. We went over liberty before, and just to touch on it really quick. This is all wordplay. Okay, it didn't say freedom. It says liberty. These are two different words. I've touched on these two words before in different wordplay, but we're going to just go back over it really quick. So, to deprive a person of his liberty by legal authority, and legal, not lawful. These are also other words. You're going to know this when you start to get into your legal terms and start really studying. And so, and just really quickly, you guys need to get your Black's Law 4th edition. Okay, Black's Law 4th edition, because the reason you want a 4th edition is because it has all the legal cases with the definitions to explain why these words mean what they mean. These definitions came about through law cases, okay? So that's why you want to get those. And so also these law cases are also your ammunition if you ever needed to go to court to explain why you said what you said, or you think this definition means this. It's because this court said this time. So that's why Black's Law 4th edition is so important. Okay, but remember, so it's to deprive a person of his liberty by legal authority. Okay, liberty. Liberty is not freedom. What is liberty? We touched on it. Liberty is freedom given to you by the government. Okay, so if it's given to you by the government, they can take it away from you. Remember, liberty. A sailor gets liberty when he docks at port. A sailor is on liberty. He leaves, but he has to come back to the ship. He ain't free to just go off. For a sailor's liberty, go off for however long it is. If they're docked for a week, the sailor has liberty for a week. He has to come back though. Okay, same thing with you. Your liberty is controlled. It's like one of those little cords around the child's neck. And they yank you back whenever they want. You think you're free. They give you all the rope you need, but as soon as you get back. So remember, so it's to deprive a person of his liberty by legal authority. Okay, so your liberty can be taken from you because it's also given to you. Always remember that. Freedom, something different. Liberty, that can be taken from you. All right, so Arrest, deprive a person of his liberty by legal authority, taking under real or assumed authority the custody of another for the purposes of detaining or holding him to answer to a criminal or civil charge. So, in actuality, when you get pulled over by the police, you're technically under arrest, okay? But it's called temporary arrest because they're holding you to determine if you've actually committed some type of infraction. Okay, not a major crime. Sometimes it may be a crime. They've had some type of, some crime may have been committed nearby, locally, and they have a description of a person, and you may fit the description, so then they'll pull you over or stop you for that. Okay, that's also temporary arrest, so they can determine whether you're that person or not. But usually in a traffic stop, they're determining whether you committed some type of infraction or not. Meaning, are you drunk? Was your lights off? Did you signal? Whatever the heck it was, they're determining, whether you committed that or not. So technically, you are under arrest at that stop. So just so a lot of you can stop arguing with the police and say you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. Actually, they can do that, and I don't want you guys to get out there and get bashed in the head or shot. So by spouting false information. So when they pull you over, you are technically under arrest. It's a temporary arrest, so you can speed it along by asking, am I free to go? You always should ask that, and ask it periodically as they're doing whatever they're doing. As they're holding you there, you constantly keep asking, after they ask you information, well, am I free to go? Am I free to go? If you never ask that, they'll hold you there until they find something. A lot of the times, especially if they're asshole cops. So not all cops are assholes, but some of them are, and they will try to do that. So again, don't get into any argument, belligerent acts with the police officers, because technically you are under arrest when they stop you. Okay, learn your rights at the stop, and then you'll know how to proceed from that point on. But don't get shot, please. All right. Next word. So our next words are actually, it's going to be two words together. So because they go together, is vote and elect. All right, vote and elect. Okay, so we've mentioned this a lot of times before, but most people, when you're voting, you're not actually electing, and we're going to get into that right now. All right. So vote, when you vote, you go into the ballot box, you stuff it in, you pull the thing, however they do it nowadays. I don't vote, and I'm proud of that. But, if it's a local election, let me say this right offhand. If it's a local election, your votes do count. On a grander scale, your votes don't mean shit. So keep that in mind when you're getting out there. But to vote, okay, when you think you're voting, you think you're choosing who's going to be the next person or whatever it is, your law, your whatever your next public official or whatever it is. You think you're choosing that, right? That's not what you're doing, okay? Voting is actually more like giving your opinion of who should be, or number one or number two or whatever the hell it may be, or whatever law should go into effect. Electing is to decide what goes in, okay? One is an opinion, one is a decision. Okay, and so this is why you need to get your Black's Law Dictionary, because in that Black's Law Dictionary, as we explained, it's going to have your law cases along with these definitions to explain why they mean what they mean. But also in the Black's Law Dictionary, it's going to tell you that those who actually vote do not actually elect. Okay, it will actually say that. So remember, the voter is the opinion. That's your opinion. In most cases, and especially on the grand scale, the grand governmental scale. But to elect is actually to decide who does what. Okay, you want to be an elector. That's why in the Constitution it says qualified electors. Okay, it doesn't say qualified voters. It says qualified electors, because anyone who elects has to have the knowledge of what they're voting on or what they're electing. Okay, you have to have the information. And so that what you're electing or whatever you're doing, that you're doing it at the utmost efficient capacity. Whereas somebody who votes, they don't have to have any information. People who vote today don't have any information about nothing. They just tell them to run out and vote, push your little button. You can be voting for anything. This is why you got Donald Trump as president. Well, he's supposed to destroy America, really, but that's a different story. But again, voting, electing. Don't be a voter, be an elector. Okay, this is the upper class, this is the lower class. Get your game up. Next word. So our next, last, and final 2 words, all right? 2 words. These 2 words go together. Okay, you've heard this many times. Many times, all right? Most of you, about 90% of you, hold this title today. And that title would be employee. Okay, that's our first one, employee. Okay, so what is an employee? I know most of you guys feel the energy of being an employee, but what is it really? Okay, so the definition, the legal definition of employee, and you can go look this up. I implore you to go look this up. But the definition of employee, legally, the legal definition, is servant or slave. It says it right in the book. It says employee is synonymous with servant. But servant, the word servant comes from the Latin servus, meaning slave. It's the same word. It's literally the exact same word. So employee is slave. That's who you are. Okay? That means if your boss can tell you how to do your work, what time to do your work, what to do your work with, you know, and provides the place for you to do the work, you are a slave. Which takes us to the other word. What is your boss then? Okay, what does that mean? Boss means master. Okay? Master. I am your master. Who's the master? Show enough. For all y'all Last Dragon people, get out there and watch that. Who's the master? Show enough. The Shogun of Harlem.
Bow down to your master. Yeah, coolie. Now, when I say, who's the master? You say, show enough. Who's the master? Who's the master? I can't hear you, Leroy. Drown him, for Christ's sake, will you drown him? Who is the master? I said, who's the master? Who is the master? There is one place that you have not looked, and it is there, only there, that you shall find the master.
You sure look like a master to me.
All right, Leroy, who's the one and only master? I am. Oh, God damn. Let me go, motherfucker, let me go.
Okay? You don't want to be the employee. You want to be the master. Get the glow. Whatever is the red glow is the golden glow. Get the glow. You don't want to be the nigga with no glow. Alright? So, employee, servant, slave, employer, master. Okay? This is the game. This is the game they put you in. You're either the leader or the follower. That's really what it is. So most of us are out here and we don't understand how to make our own way. So we have to rely on those who are more ambitious to help feed us. But why are they more ambitious? Ambition just means to move around. Get your ass up and move around and figure out how to be the employer. Okay, that's all in you. Somebody else did it. Why can't you do it? Stop being slaves. Get out of that mentality. Remember, that is the oldest economy in the world, is slavery. So, it never changes form. It never dies. Just like energy, it just changes form. So, slavery will always be here, always be leaders and followers. You need to pick who you are. But for most of you, get out there and dip your toe in the employer world. Okay, try to be a master. Even if you're not an employer, you don't have any employees. Be the master of your own destiny. Okay, as we went over in one of the other words, that's what weird means. It means to be master of your own fate. So get out there, be God. That's who you are. Okay, stop being employees. That is a subservient slave term that they've placed upon you. So get it off you. You wear it like a goddamn, like a heavy ass coat. Throw it off you. Breathe. Get out there and do your own thing. There's so many things for you to be able to get out here and find and do. Find out what you love doing, what you do best, and get out there and do it. All right? Stop being slaves. And that's the end. All right, so that's going to conclude this episode of Wordplay. This is episode 7, I believe. So thank you all for joining. It's been a long time coming. Remember, all these episodes, the documentaries that we do, I'm going to be putting on Patreon most of the time for most of the Patreon people to see. So get on over there and subscribe. Subscribe to the Patreon, baby. Patreon.com/realnoggins if you guys want that information. Also, the status classes are over there, so if you guys want to get in there and you subscribe to the higher levels, you'll be able to watch those status classes, and watch them over and over again so that you guys can understand, get out there and help and build your information with people. Get your knowledge game, your law knowledge, okay? Your legal game is what needs to come up to a certain level, okay? We need to elevate that because we have no idea what the law is. That's why they said if you want to know the law, if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book, or they put it in the hardest book they can find. That's the law book. So get out there and learn it. It's a different language. It's going to take you time. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, but the rewards when you come through it is going to be so great. I can't tell you. You just have to go through it and see. Once you're able to start reading law and understanding what certain things mean, it's a whole different game. It's a whole different world. The upper elite, they don't have to do this. They pay people to do it. You don't have the money to pay people to do it, so you got to do it yourself. All right? So I'm going to help you. That's why I'm here. So get on over to that Patreon channel and subscribe. Also, subscribe to the Real Knowledge channel. Click that button down there, and so you can get these videos as soon as I put them out. And get on over to therealnoggins.com so you can get that gear too. The Dragon Moore, Phoenix Moore gear, and the Native Amarukan gear. I see a lot of you, since I put out the Face of the Dragon documentary, you guys have been coming on over to the Phoenix side. A lot of you you were really stuck to that dragon energy. But as you start to see, the Phoenix wasn't no bitch. And just because he was about spreading the knowledge, that doesn't mean he was a bitch. All right, so the Phoenix is a gangster, baby. That's why he's revered throughout the world. There's no fear in the Phoenix. And they didn't make the Phoenix some grandoso monster. It's a very regal bird who spreads light and knowledge on people. So a lot of you guys are embracing that energy. I'm glad to see it. Now that dragon energy is gangster too, and people want to know what's the difference between dragons. So I said there's a dark dragon and a golden dragon. The dragons were more the warrior types. They're more the people who were in military and stuff like that. But they didn't abuse their power. Okay, so they understood that there was a balance between knowledge and aggression. And so you would have somebody like Saladin, who was more of a golden dragon. Saladin, who's this person who took back Jerusalem, from the Christians. And he came in, he didn't wipe all the Christians out. He only killed who he had to, and he offered them a deal. He said, look, let's turn it over. We won't kill anybody. We'll make you a part of, things that go on here, but everybody doesn't need to die, man. Let's work something out. That was Saladin. Saladin is considered to be one of the greatest military men in history. So look up, go out and do your knowledge on that. But I'm glad to see you're getting into your history and your energy. That's what's most important. So be a dragon or a phoenix, get it off, or a Marukan. If you're in North America, you're a native Amarukan, knock that out. Also, I need you to donate. Cop Stop Guardian. All right, GoFundMe.com/CopStopGuardian. We're still going to get this done if you don't want to subscribe to the Patreon channel, because part of that money will be going to the app. And once you see this app gets done, you guys will be amazed. So help us get it done. It will get done in 2018. Just will you be one of the ones that help us? All right. So that's it for this episode, and I'm gonna holler at you later. Deuces. Peace.